Moses is a strong name. If I close my eyes, I can see Charlton Heston raising his staff to the sky, and walls of water miraculously rise from the floor of the Red Sea. And if I let my mind wander, I can feel the yellow church pew cushions where I sat and learn to associate the name of Moses with God's power, authority, and most of all, Exodus. Moses is a unique name to my white European ears, but it's pretty common in Africa. I might picture 40 days and nights wandering in the desert, or the handwriting of God on those stone tablets, or the burning bush, all of this rich and colorful story. But Moses is, I don't know, it's probably like James or John is for a lot of us. It's actually a pretty common name. Today on The Soul of Life, I speak with Moses Kushaba. Moses grew up in Uganda and has a rich and colorful story of his own.
So we had a civil war during that time when I was born, and it was also a rainy season. And so my family was fleeing, going, to another area. And so they didn't know what to do because all the valleys were flooded. So what they did, they made a basket, put me in the basket and pushed me on water as they were crossing there. So that's how they named me Moses.
We talk about Ibram Kendi's How to Be Anti-Racist and how hard it is to actually practice this. Being anti-racist, according to Kendi, doesn't come naturally. It's impossible to be human and not be racist. And according to him and others that talk about this, the trap that we fall into is believing that the goal is to somehow deny our racism, when in fact hiding it from ourselves and others is by definition hiding our most human and imperfect parts while pretending we don't have it. So of course it spreads unchecked, just like coronavirus is spreading unchecked in many parts of the US. So in this episode, Moses and I practice what I think Kendi in his How to Be Anti-Racist work is inviting us to do, actually naming racist ideas we have struggled with.
I think there has always been this inherent fear of the angry black man.
Naming racist ideas we have struggled with. In a place that matters, like in front of other people where you have something to lose. I hope it inspires you to speak honestly to others about race, racist ideas that you actually have. I'll admit I was a bit nervous about this, but it's exhilarating to think of you and Kendi and others who are providing leadership, important spiritual leadership on this with me, that you're out there doing this with me. So yeah, I'm counting on you. And I'm ready, and I hope you're ready. If we're going to the River Jordan, we are going to go deep, full immersion. The only reason I know Moses is because he fled Uganda in the 2000s. He experienced violence in his family. His grandfather was killed by one of the regimes there. Moses was eventually granted asylum. But his story takes a few twists and turns, and I want to prepare you and ask you to be open to the whole story, to Moses. Surviving traumatic events takes time to process and heal, and I'm sure some of these chapters that we'll hear today Moses talk about are still being written. So I ask for your openness. You'll hear Moses speak about some of this, but other parts I've gathered and gleaned from public reporting about his story. It's not something he really wanted to rehash. Being gay in Uganda is dangerous. Now, Moses was from a wealthy family, but his parents, both of them, died from HIV/AIDS when he was just a teenager. And as the oldest of 6 siblings, a lot of responsibility fell on Moses.
If I can help raise my siblings so that we actually don't die,
You In order to not be exiled from his family and get kicked out of school, he hid his sexual identity and gave in to pressure to be married and look normal. He had children. Keep in mind, this was during a time where the regime in Uganda was passing bills, literally passing bills that criminalized homosexuality, but called for the punishment of that crime to be death. And to this day, Uganda is still not a safe place for gay people. Hunting down gay people was really happening in Uganda when Moses was outed on national television and accused of being a dangerous predator. This accusation that Moses experienced is not a new one. It's been recycled over and over again. The idea that gay people harm children somehow more than straight people. It's one of the most common homophobic legends used to justify violence against gay, lesbian, trans, queer, and intersex people. There's no factual basis for this. It's homophobia and paranoia. But a tabloid in Uganda ran a front page story with Moses' picture, telling others he was a monster. To some people in the LGBTQI community in the US, Moses became an icon of courage, but I don't think he sees himself as a hero at all. People close to Moses were forced to share what they knew about him when this story ran in the tabloids. They were forced to take sides.
It was so ironic because I was receiving praise from here. People were like, oh my God, you know, you're a courageous person. Oh my God, thank you for putting this to light. Oh, thank you for the good work. You're helping people. On the other side of the world, it was like, how dare you? How dare you do this to us? How dare you put us through this? How dare you put your family through this?
People openly talked about all of his sexual experiences since he was a boy. So, okay, just try to imagine that for a moment and how you feel in that position. Front page news, all of your sexual experiences. They gossiped about this imbroglio of sex that he and another boy inaugurated at his boarding school. So Moses got out in front of that story and he told a lot of details about his earliest sexual experiences. Things that a straight person would never have to share with anyone. And he told this to a US reporter. If Moses was being pushed out of the closet, he was not just going to stumble out. It was like, I don't know, a bit of jujitsu. He kind of said, if you're pushing fire at me, I'm going to use it to blast off. Moses is a pretty smart guy. He made friends in Washington, D.C. He had been denied asylum at first, but he appealed and won his asylum and joined the U.S. Army as a medic. One drill instructor confronted him for smiling and laughing through the grueling workouts.
People ask me about my experience in Iraq. I'm like, I think that was the best time of my life.
Moses kept smiling. After his tour in Iraq, Moses studied social work and is now finishing his PhD in psychology. He's been a healer and psychotherapist for many years, and I hope you'll learn something from our attempt to bring knowledge as healers of the mind and heart together in the messy work of anti-racism.
If we stop putting in our own input and injecting our own feelings and our own theories, then we will let the healing process actually flow.